Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We're so glad you're here. We're going to have a little song. Your soul is welcome here.
That's right. You're in the right place at the right time, just where you are meant to be, whether you're live streaming or you're here with us in person. And it feels like winter, doesn't it? It should be. Woo! I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Please join me in turning around. Say good morning to those that are live streaming. You're in the right place at the right time. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome. Oh my soul is welcome here. Oh my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Your soul. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Deborah. Good to see you this morning, as
Good
well
to
as
see you.
everyone else, all the other souls that are here, and always welcome.
They're always welcome. And we greet you now in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. And if you're with us for the very first time today, we especially welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. We are all here by divine
appointment.
And we're very excited to have you with us this morning. And also, we're very excited to have you silence your electronic devices.
And as we know, we also acknowledge the Season for Nonviolence, which takes place between the anniversaries of the deaths of Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, and to affirm and to remind ourselves of the principles that they lived by to bring about peace, reconciliation through the process of nonviolence. And so we always have a reading during this time. And this morning, our reading is by Chris Enright. Is Chris here? There he is. He's going to share this morning's reading for the Season for Nonviolence Acknowledgement.
Good morning.
Morning.
The reading today is called, I Take Myself Lightly. Micah, I take myself lightly. Each time we see pictures of our beautiful planet Earth taken from space, we see it clearly as our common home. Looking out from our home at the universe fills me with awe and reverence for God's creative energy and divine order. I'm reminded that feelings and emotions pass, trials and tribulations pass, and that one day today's concerns will be forgotten. I remember that most of what occurs in my life will change and then change again. I give myself the gift of patience, knowing that daily I am growing in maturity, spirituality, and love. I'm patient with myself, and I find it easier to be patient with others. Today I take myself lightly. So today, Jennifer and I are, after the service, heading over to Roseville to visit my folks, my mom and dad. And they're elderly and frail, but they're independent, and so I'm really grateful for that. So it'll be yet another opportunity to be in their presence, as their son, even though I'm well over 40 years beyond their responsibility. It's still got that energy to it, And growing up, I often felt misunderstood, and I felt, a little bit not seen, and sometimes the need to defend myself, as though I wasn't enough, and I needed to prove to them that I was. And that I took a lot of those lessons deep into life, and for a long time they didn't really serve me. But I think that today I can take myself very lightly. And Jennifer and I, when we met each other, we had one requirement for each other, and that was that we be truly and radically ourselves together. And she looked at me one day and she said, early in our message, she pointed her finger at my face and she said, what if we could be ourselves in this relationship? And it's been, I can tell you, the most wonderful thing. And I'm so grateful for you. So thank you for this opportunity, this reminder to take my life lightly today.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. Hang up here for a moment. I want to ask Chris to stay up here for a moment because I wanted to acknowledge something that he's been involved in. I know he takes himself lightly, but he takes, I think, what he does seriously. And that's a good balance to have. I just want to acknowledge that the Habitat for Humanity 2017 Cornerstone Award, and that the Spiritual Life Center and the SLC Habitat for Humanity team was awarded the Cornerstone Award for their contribution to the Neil Road Build for Unity project in 2017. And Chris was involved in that, as well as Pat Sandlin. Where's Pat Sandlin? Right there. Okay, yes. And I just want to read briefly, what the award. So we got a little plaque here that they received on behalf, and it says, in honor of your exceptional contributions to our 2017 Pilot Build for Unity project and helping to build hope, homes, and unity in the greater Sacramento community and beyond. This team was led and coordinated by our own Pat Sadler, as I mentioned, Chris Enright, and as well as many SLC volunteers. And I'd like any of those who were involved as well to stand up. We can acknowledge those who are part of the process as well, because it takes many hands to make that work. So we thank them for completing, I think, 4 houses on the Neil Road parcel, and hearty job done. Well done. Thank you. I don't know if you want to hold on to that or not. Okay. Quickly. Yes.
I'd like to say,
Here, you need a microphone, though.
yes, I'd like to say 2 things. One, I want to thank Chris for all he did. In 2016, we were in a planning meeting for what we were going to do for 2017. And we were talking about all the things, and Chris said, I'd like to lead the project for Habitat. And I went, what did he say? That had never happened to me before in my community service work. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And secondly, just quickly, I want to acknowledge all the women who worked on the project. I had a lot of women to say, well, I don't know how to build and what can I do? And I say, come on, you can do anything. If you can sweep your house, you can work on a habitat build. And guess what? In May this year, There's a woman build in Sacramento. So if you're interested in working on an all-woman team, please see me and I'll take your name and get all the information out to you. So women build.
All righty. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Chris.
So, James.
Yes.
What is this Wednesday?
Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, so we're going to have is it Ash Wednesday?
It's also Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day. See, they're mixing up all, and then Easter's on April Fool's Day. It's just a weird year coming up.
So what we're going to bring all your candy to us on Wednesday. No, we are having our traditional Pheonix Rising Ash Wednesday service on Wednesday, and Reverend James and I and Reverend Becca and Reverend Louise will be part of that service. It will be meditation, reflection, and a personal blessing. And you get the golden Pheonix Rising coin. So join us for that. Salads at 6 and soup is at Soup is at 6. Soup is at 6 and the service is at 7.
Okay. I know there was a lot of things mixed up there. Soup, salad, service, but that's all right.
It's
All
going to have
works
a
good.
full 5-course meal there.
And anyway, we also have an announcement from Carolyn Cochran, our president of our board of trustees, to share with you a couple of things.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We actually got 2 announcements. The first is just a reminder. We announced at the town hall meeting that we had 2 midterm vacancies on the board of trustees, and those are for 1-year terms. And the application deadline was going to be the end of the day today, and so we've extended it out 2 additional days. We have received some applications. I'm excited about that. But if you feel called to step up into service in a bigger and new way, consider being a part of the Board of Trustees. And if this isn't the time right now, we will be calling for additional vacancies that will be coming up on a regular cycle, which will be we'll be announcing them next month, but the positions will be available starting in June. So be thinking about that. The new deadline will be close of business this Tuesday, for these 2 interim vacancies. Okay. There are also application packages at the welcome table out in the courtyard. So if you're interested, you can pick one up. You can see me or any other board member to chat about it. We're available for that as well. Okay? All right, so the second announcement is today, in response to the town hall meeting, it seemed like there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of things that people needed to sit with and digest. And so we heard you, and we have a meeting after the service today from 12:30 to 1:30. We're just going to do an hour. And it'll be an opportunity just informally to sit with the board and with James and Elaine. And if you have any questions, any comments, any things that you want to share with us, we are here for you. We represent you as board members. And so it'll be a nice community Q&A conversation. So that'll be after the service today, 12:30. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. Yes. Just want to bring to your attention that we're sponsoring Deepak Chopra, who's going to be, we're one of the sponsors for Deepak Chopra, who's going to be at the Crest Theater on Saturday, February 17th. The event is actually sold out. However, we've secured 2 tickets that we put on for a raffle that if you'd like to go and have a chance to go, you can purchase tickets. Today, we're going to have the drawing at 12:15. So you can get 1 ticket for $25, or you get 5 for $100 to help, with our with contributing to Spiritual Life Center. The package is worth $350, so you get a chance to not only go and have a VIP seat, but to hang out with Deepak Chopra backstage. You get a backstage pass. I don't know if they handle that out or anything. Anyway, so just check that out immediately after the service for the drawing that's going to take place at 12:15. As we said, you don't have to be present to win. You just need to be present to life, and that's good enough.
And 2 weeks from today, on February 25th, we have Stephen Dinan. He is the CEO of the Shift Networks. He will be our guest. His topic is Sacred America, Visionary Sacramento, and he's chosen Sacramento because we're so diverse and he thinks we're cool. Mr. Dinan is a powerful and positive voice for what he calls sacred political activism. And his book, Sacred America, Sacred World, Fulfilling Our Mission in service to all, offers a hopeful message of healing that bridges political divides, and it teaches us how to create balance and a transpartisan type of thinking.
Very good.
He will be doing a workshop after the service that day. You can buy tickets for the workshop, and you can purchase his book out in the courtyard today.
And I think we have a screening of the movie Heal film coming up.
It is coming up, and we're partnering with Joan Marie and the Compassionate Care of Sacramento to offer this screening. The details are in your bulletin. There's an insert that tells you all about it.
And just to remind you that, if you're feeling any sense of angst in your life based upon what's going on in your life or in the world, as one individual told me, the greatest spiritual practice that we can always engage in, whenever we want to kind of get through something, center ourselves, is meditation. As when he told me, if you want to get through life, make sure you know how to pray and meditate. And so I'm going to have a 3-week class starting on March the 8th on 3 Thursdays. It could be for you if you're a beginner or an advanced person in meditation. It's a mindfulness meditation. But we're going to practice. We're going to collectively practice and see how that can transform our energy field so that we can move forward more effectively.
As I remember someone saying during your talk this morning, is that your mind wouldn't wander so much if you gave it a better place to live.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to use that. All right, I think we have our ambassadors.
Oh, okay. So we'd like to introduce some very special people to you this morning, our ambassadors and chaplains. Will you please stand? Our ambassadors wear the rainbow ribbons around their necks. They are here to offer a warm welcome and answer your questions and point you in the right direction so that you can connect with our activities and programs. And our chaplains are here to hold us in confidential prayer during our human experience of joy and of concern. And they wear the white stoles. They will be here in the sanctuary and out in the courtyard after the service.
And if anyone's here for the very first time, in a few moments, we're going to ask you to just raise your hand so we can give you a special gift and fill out a card so you can get connected with Spiritual Life Center if you'd like to learn more about what's taking place at Spiritual Life Center, how you can fit in, how you can have that support you in your life, and so we can give you that special Spiritual Life Center welcome.
And if you're here for the very first time, would you please raise your hand?
Just raise your hand up.
And keep your hand up. We're offering you a shell lei, and we ask that you wear that so we can greet you. On the shell lei is a tag that says, "We believe we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and there are many paths to the one God."
And so we're thankful that you've come and shared your consciousness with us today, and we appreciate your presence. Like I said, we don't know how you got here, but you're here by a divine appointment. You're in the right place at the right time as we sing each and every week. So we invite everyone to acknowledge our newcomers. You look marvelous. Tell them that. Tell each other that. Today's a...
We invite you to stay standing as we sing our group song together. Are you awake? We're waking up to the power of our minds. We're waking up to the power within us. And that's what we're going to sing about this morning. Because in this power, we're set free together. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Sing it again. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Whoa. Oh. sweet. Whoa, life can be good, and it's all up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. Whoa, life can be good. Whoa, life can be sweet. Oh, life can be good, and it's all up to me. Oh, life can be good. Oh, life can be sweet. Oh, life can be good, and it's all up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind. I'm waking up to me. I'm waking up to the power of my mind, and in this power I'm set free. And in this power, I'm set free. And in this power, I'm set free. Give yourselves a hand, and please be seated.
All right. Now that we are all awake, let us enthusiastically embody the words to our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, in preparation for meditation, I invite you to settle into your chair and take a nice deep breath. Feel the chair underneath you. Feel the temperature in the room, and become present. I am spirit. I am holy.
take a breath and relax deeply into your chair. In the next few breaths, drop your shoulders. Relax your hands into your lap. And allow your consciousness to drift into a light daydream. You're standing on a very busy street corner. Cars whiz past, people walk by, jostling your elbow or running into packages you might be holding. You really need a moment of quiet to regain your composure and perhaps have a short talk with God about a few things. Across the street, you see a park. And so you weave through the cars stalled in the traffic jam and make your way toward a stand of tall green trees. As you step onto the dirt path leading into the park, the noise recedes and you start to relax a little bit more. And then the trees begin to resolve into an emerald green mist dancing in the middle of your path. As you near the dancing mist, it begins to separate right in the middle, as if inviting you to enter. And so you step into the emerald green mist. Emerald-colored hair gently swirls around you, clearing your mind, clearing your emotions, filling your heart center. And you take a deep cleansing breath and let it go. The mist slowly melts away, and you see that you are now in a beautiful park. The sky is deep blue. The temperature is perfect. It is quieter here, but there's still quite a lot of activity. Birds sing and flutter. Flowers and trees sway in the wind. Squirrels argue and chatter at blue jays. Crows complain about, well, everything. And you have a desire for even more quiet so that you can make your connection with God. And looking around, you see a lilac bush that is in full bloom. And so you make your way towards this lilac bush. As you near the bush, it begins to resolve into a beautiful violet mist. It dances and floats in front of you. You can feel it sending out gentle tendrils of violet energy as you approach, as if inviting you to come and immerse yourself in this beautiful light. And you stroll right into the mist, and you enter an even deeper quiet. The violet light dances and swirls around you, removing any lingering anxiety or concern. You are calm. You are clear. You are centered. the violet mist begins to slow its dance. As it winds down, it softly, gently dissipates, and you stand surrounded in pure white light. There is no motion, no sound. There is only pure consciousness. In this moment, you release yourself and open to the pure light pouring into you in the deep, deep silence. Oh, my beloved, this place of silence and light is your center. It is the real you. It is the you that never changes. Remember this always.
I'm finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, it's okay. The last thing I need is to be heard, but to hear what you would say. Word of God, speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God, speak, 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 speak. I'm finding myself in the midst of you, beyond the music, beyond the noise. All that I need is to be with you, and in the quiet, hear your voice. Word of God, speak. Would you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. Word of God, speak. When you pour down like rain, washing my eyes to see your majesty, to be still and know that you're in this place. Please let me stay and rest in your holiness. I'm finding myself at a loss for words, and the funny thing is, it's okay.
Thank you, Ann. It's always great to hear the music from the spheres coming through her and our music team. Yes. You may be familiar with a movie that's one of my favorite movies I've ever watched. They change every week what my favorite movies are, but for today, you know, my favorite movies was The Matrix. I don't know if anyone watched The Matrix years ago. I think it came out in the late 90s. And in that particular movie, one of the main characters named Neo, and he's a computer program by day and a hacker by night. And he gets these cryptic messages put on his computer screen. And he ends up going to look for the person who had put these messages on his computer screen. And he's been searching for this person for a while. His name was Morpheus. And Morpheus was a cool character. He wore all black and he had shades on. In fact, I brought mine just today just to acknowledge him. Morpheus. I can't keep them on because I can't see through them. But anyway, he finds Morpheus through a series of events. He set his intention to find this gentleman. And of course, Morpheus was the leader of this clandestine resistance movement that he was a part of. And when he runs into Morpheus, Morpheus tells him, the reality that he thinks is real is very different from what real reality is. And that all of human existence is living this illusion that has nothing to do with what's really going on. And he said this illusion is created by some other beings, some machines, and that everyone is living in a dream world. And he said that this dream world is what he called the Matrix. And of course, if you remember the scene that, he comes into Morpheus' office, and Morpheus has two pills. He's got the blue pill, he's got the red pill. And he said, now, here's your choice. You can take the blue pill and you continue on, in this dreamlike state, be in this blissful ignorance as to what's really going on, or you can be dareful and take the red pill and find out what reality truly is. So he must have been a lunatic. He said, give me that red pill. So he took the red pill. And of course, the movie goes on to describe, how he begins to get understanding of what reality is. And shortly after the movie, somebody asked me this question. If we're living in a matrix, how do we know we're in the matrix? And how in the heck do we get out of it? And at the time, I gave them the best answer I could, which was, I don't know. It's often my answer when I don't know anything. I use the Scooby-Doo answer. Perhaps, the answer is in this fifth series, this fifth agreement. We've been going through the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and we had the Ruiz brothers here a few weeks ago. And of course, as we're moving to the 5th agreement, we realize that the first agreement is that we wanted to master our expression of ourselves, to speak words that are always informing us and affirming us and never against us. And he said, don't take anything in life as unfolding personally. At least not too personally, maybe a little bit, but not too personally. Don't stay on it very long. Or as the reading was today, take it lightly. Take life lightly. And then he said, dissolve the habitual habit of making assumptions. You know what we do when we make assumptions? We make a body part, out of them and us. And then finally, he said, to always continuously try to improve our life. Because it's not about, perfection. The only thing we want to do is continuously improve, moving towards this goal or vision or ideal of perfection. And then he came up with another book, as if that wasn't enough for us to work on. And in this book, he called The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz and his son, Don Jose. And he said, if I had to sum up that one thing that they're saying in the Fifth Agreement is really telling us to be skeptical, but learn to listen. Be skeptical, but have an open mind along the way. So that we don't get caught up in, as I like to say, getting caught up in buying into the okie doke. I don't know if anybody knows what that means. I'll tell you later. When I was in ministerial school, when I first came there the first year, we were all eager, wet behind the ears, want to become ministers. We're really solid in our belief systems about what we believe in. And, I had an instructor that told us, he said, maybe all the things that you have come here with, that you think you believe in, you all could be wrong. And I was like, what? What do you mean? I came all the way up here for you to tell me I'm wrong. But he went on to say something to the effect that in life, we don't experience reality. We experience our thoughts about reality. We experience our thoughts about reality. And I give a personal example, just a little small one that kind of brought this home for me. Years ago when I was traveling a lot, and it was not too long after 9/11, and they started, upping all of the searching and taking off your shoes. And, this was totally different than it was just before that time. I don't know if anybody can remember, actually flying was like, okay. Now, there's a whole different story. They check everything. And so, I was going to the airport, and I was standing in one of these lines to check in my bags. And it was one of those long lines. It was one of those Disneyland lines. It was like, oh, my God. It was really long. I don't know if I'm going to miss the plane or anything like that. And I noticed that I didn't have, a tag on my luggage, that had my name and stuff on it. Because, a lot of times we travel a lot and you check in luggage. Sometimes you go in one place and your luggage goes somewhere else. So I wanted to make sure it was tagged up and everything like that. So I walked way up in the front. I went behind the counter. Yeah, I know. I pulled out one of the tags, and went back to where my luggage was, and I noticed that there was a police officer looking at me, and I was pretending not to be looking at him, And, he was kind of looking at me, and I'm pretending not to be looking at him. And he kept looking at me for a while, and then the next thing you know, he got on a walkie-talkie, got on his radio, and a couple moments later, there was two people there, and I'm saying, oh, my God. But I'm pretending that, I don't really see what's going on. I'm just whistling, like nothing's happening at all, and I'm just enjoying myself. And next thing I know, I was bending over, writing and putting my tag on my luggage. And there's a shadow over me, and I said, oh, my God, here I am. They're going to try to harass me again, here at the airport. And then all of a sudden, one of the guys said, I heard you speak at a local Unity church I had just been to. And he said, I decided that I was going to forgive someone that I've been holding a grudge against for a long time. And somehow along the way, I decided that I'm going to really do what I'm supposed to do in my life. And in another month or so, I'm going to give it my retirement papers. I'm going to do that. And we had a nice, good conversation. I didn't share anything about what was really going on in my mind during the whole time leading up to this at all. He wasn't just a police officer. He was a human being going through his own challenges and changes and transformation. But I realized, I say all of that, the point of the story is this, that I had created a dream of my own making. I had created a matrix of my own making that had nothing to do with what was real. I was only experiencing my own thought. We don't experience reality, we experience our thoughts about reality. And so how do we get out of that? How do we get out of our own mistaken beliefs about things? And I think we want to keep our thoughts upward and high on consecrating it to a God idea, a spiritual idea, no matter how we interact with another person, no matter what's going on. And of course, when we consecrate, something, we're making it sacred. We want every thought to be a sacred thought, a God thought, a high thought. We're dedicating ourselves to the service of a God idea. You know, we've heard the statement, change your thinking, you'll change your life. And I think to get out of the matrix, we want to challenge our thinking along the way. And if we concentrate our life to God, then our thinking will automatically be changed. We're no longer running around worrying about things. You know, sometimes, I don't know what's happened to you, sometimes this thought runs through my mind and, I say, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm learning about all this stuff, about how powerful thought is. We talked about that in the first week of this series. And lately I've been reading stuff online about all the stuff that's going on in the world today. I get all these negative and fearful thoughts, and my God, now they got swine flu, bird flu, and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking about these things. My God, am I going to get all of this stuff in my own life right now? Oh my God, what's going to happen? I've created a matrix of my own making and my own baking. But if we begin to concentrate our thoughts on consecrate our thoughts to the presence of God, to a high idea, those thoughts will not take us over because we're no longer interested in them. They will float right on by. The thoughts from that dream world will keep on going. We can be skeptical of those thoughts by challenging them. As they said in the fifth agreement, be skeptical, but, keep an open mind. Be skeptical, but, continue to listen. Listen to those words of God that Ann was singing about. Sometimes we do the same thing about the thoughts that a society that we have collectively. Sometimes there's a belief as we look upon the planet of the earth that we're just destined to have conflicts and wars and so forth until someone comes along to say that's a dream, that's a matrix we've made up. It does not have to be that way. As we're thinking about the season for nonviolence, I recall a story by Ariadne. And Ariadne was a gentleman who received the Gandhi Award. And he was in Sri Lanka. And he was in certain areas of Sri Lanka that he wanted to go to stop civil wars from taking place. And so he would go in with his nonviolent soldiers, and he would lead the way. He'd be like 30 paces ahead of everyone. And he'd bring a spirit of peace. He'd bring a spirit of harmony anywhere that he went. And so he tried to get the sides to kind of come together, to talk with one another, to see each other's perspectives. And they would also make contributions to the community with community banks and co-ops and everywhere that he went. But oftentimes when he would bring about this peace, he would cause some upset from some of the other people who maybe had black markets. They were depending upon wars taking place. They were looking upon that to sustain them. And so in many respects, he was a threat to them. And there were times that people would actually have to go out and try to assassinate Ariadne, and they make attempts on his life. And so he had heard about one of the attempts that was being planned that was supposed to happen the very next day. And so he knew who the man was and where he lived, and so he went to his house. And he went up to his door. Now, most people, they wouldn't do this, but he went up to his door and knocked on his door. And the man opened the door and saw him, and he was shocked. And Ariadne said to the gentleman, dear sir, it's come to my attention that you have a job to do. I have a job to do, you have a job to do. He said, my job is to love, and I want you to do your job as well. And tomorrow, I understand that you have a job that you're supposed to do. But if you do that, somebody else might get hurt, so I don't want that to happen. So here's what I want you to do. Do what you're prepared to do, because I've come here to do what I'm prepared to do. And so if you need to take my life, just take it right now. But the man had a change in him. He said, if I had known a man like you as I was growing up, I probably wouldn't have turned out the way that I am today and doing the things that I am doing today. And so I can't do this. And in that moment, what happened is that gentleman became one of the members of Ariadne's peaceful army. He joined his soldiers' regime. I think the whole point is that Ariadne did not succumb to the belief that many in that area believed that conflict and war was the way to go. He didn't buy into that story at all. He brought the realization that compassion and love was more powerful and more important than anything else that others had bought into. He didn't allow anything else to be a priority in his life. I think when we practice this fifth agreement about being skeptical but listen, we don't buy into other people's stories. We don't make another person's story our story. You know, the Reeves family notes in that book, we all find great storytellers wanting to tell us what we should do with our lives, but they say, do not believe them. Be skeptical and listen. Be skeptical and make your own choices. You know, I recall a story about the Brazilian slaves. And they were taken from Africa and brought to, you know, what was considered to them the New World. They were brought to Brazil as one of the places that they landed. And they came from the west coast of Nigeria, and the people would put on slave ships going across the ocean, and many of them died. A third of them would die along the way, a third would die when they got there, and a third of them would survive. And their families were broken up. They were sent to very different plantations. So they couldn't form up any small groups that would serve any kind of opposition to those who were the masters. So the children and the fathers and the mothers, they were all separated and sent to different places. And they didn't have any possessions. They had nothing, no belongings, hardly any clothes. But they did have their own tradition. They did have their own religion. And that could not be taken away from them, even though it was tried. And so even though they were spread out in a lot of different places, they reformed around the different gods that they celebrated. Maybe there was a god of wind, the god of forest, the god of sea, the god of water, the god of fire. So all of them related to one another around those particular gods and created new communities. And they were sent to different plantations. But at first, you know, the owners forbid them from practicing their religion. And they had to follow the Christian faith. And maybe before the Reeves brothers, they said, okay, we're going to be skeptical, but we're going to listen. We're going to be open. And what they did is that they would go into the places where they would worship and they would put on the altar all the Christian saints. St. Peter, Jesus is in the middle, Virgin Mary, all the other ones. But they didn't know, what they didn't know is that under the ground where all of those artifacts were, they hid some pots and other artifacts that represented the symbols of their particular religion. And so when they started their rituals, they would all lie down flat on the floor, their heads to the ground. And all the people that were watching them, overseas, were just amazed. And they were saying, those people have so much devotion. They thought they were paying homage to the Christian saints. They thought they were paying homage to the Christian idea. But they were paying homage to the gods that were hidden beneath the earth. So they didn't get caught up into another story. They listened. They made the people believe they were listening. They made them believe they had an open mind. But they kept their own story. They managed to keep their own tradition. They were skeptical of the story that they were being told and being fed. They were open-minded enough to listen and be creative to keep their own story along the way. They didn't entertain being caught up in another person's dream. You know, the reality is sometimes we do get caught up in other people's stories. But we can escape the matrix and step away from a dream that is not any way related to what's real. You know, sometimes I think we have, as I look around the world today, sometimes I get caught up too much in what's watching the news. Don't ever do that unless you pray it up. Because we got caught up into a dream that we're separate. There's an us versus them. And that's a dream that we need to be skeptical of and ask ourselves, is that really true? That question helps us discern what the truth is. And when we begin to ask that kind of question, I think our language will begin to change to away from the dream to what is absolutely the ultimate reality, and we talk about that, the sense of oneness. Oftentimes we'll begin, instead of saying things like, those people over there, they don't know what they're doing. Those people over there, they're crazy. Those people on the other side of the world, the other side of the country, they're nuts. Those people there, oh man, they're too extreme in their politics. Those people over there, oh yeah, they're passionate, compassionate, and loving, and I'm okay with them. They're part of my tribe. But if we question the premise that we live in a sense of separation, that there's no sense of us versus them, and begin to realize there is only oneness, then our language will begin to change to align with that. And we may say things like, some of us are a little bit conservative. Some of us are a little extreme. Some of us are compassionate. Some of us are beautiful and stingy or crazy. Some of us are out of our minds. But we begin to say some of us instead of them and they. Understanding our being begins to respond to the language that we're using. And we'll open up to a new dimension. We'll begin to see the world as it really is. It's not a dream that we've accepted, that there's separation, that there is a sense of us and them. Because there isn't any them. It's all us. It's one. It's all now. All the astronauts that go out in space when they look at the Earth realize there's only one thing going on. But we caught up into a dream. And then our actions will be in alignment with that harmony. We'll get a glimpse of our real oneness. And we'll say, I don't know what that action will be, but it'll always be for the highest and good of who I really am. It'll be in alignment with what is really real, and that is we indeed are one in the Spirit. And I think if we just begin for just 1 week, maybe we go to our work, go to our coffee houses, wherever we hear people gossiping these days. Nowadays, they do it online. It's like worldwide gossip going on. But we begin to shift our own language. Instead of saying they don't know what they're doing, they don't have a clue, we'll say some of us don't know what we're doing, some of us don't have a clue. We're all part of this one family. We begin to shift just a little bit. We begin to see the inclusivity in our language. It begins to allow us to see differently, begin to allow us to see the unchanging nature of what's really going on. We'll get greater insight, greater revelations, and guidance from the Word of God. And we'll be in alignment with the one power, the one presence that always is there. We'll break away from the dream, from the matrix that maybe we've gotten caught up into. Not always easy, because I find myself getting into the us, them as well at times. And I say, bad minister, don't stop. Eventually we'll realize the truth. Realize there's only oneness. And I think that's the power of the fifth agreement. We can hear a story, but realize that we are not the story. Be open-minded and skeptical at the same time. Peace and blessings to you. All right. And as our musicians are coming forward to uplift us with their wonderful music, let us prepare for our love offerings and gifts and give from the consciousness of absolute unlimited abundance, that we're getting into the flow of giving and receiving. As you symbolically raise your gift to the heavens, and if you're given any other way, online, through the mail, EFTs, we realize that what we give out is energy and comes back to us in ways that we give it out. So let's say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
1, 2, 3. about the rest and took my young imagination to the acid test. And it was easy then to say what love could do. So easy when your world is new. It's been so hard sometimes to find my way. I let my pleasure lead my little world astray. And if I'm truthful, I say that I was blind to everything about this life but what I had in mind. And it was easy then to say where love could go. So easy when there's so much you don't know. But my imagination get me through somehow. Without my imagination I wouldn't be here now.
About my imagination. Well, we bless the tithes and offerings, knowing we're going to bless the givers and receivers in so many different ways, as each of us go forth, expressing the divine that is within us, stepping out of the matrix, stepping out of the dream, and being face to face with what is real. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Sing our peace song. In our prayer for protection,